her. God knows if I would have gotten help. I may be more than likely probably deceased by now. So thank God that she gave me that ultimatum way back when. And, I've told her on many occasions I'm forever grateful for that. And, tried to make an amends over the years about, doing the right thing and telling her how very remorseful and sorry I am for the wreckage I caused. And I hope, someday she'll, she's already said many occasions that she's forgiven me. So I'm thankful for that. And just trying to move on in the right direction.
No, and it sounds like you are. And I think that, once we rise or fall to a certain level, I think we have to educate people, because it's the last thing. You get to a certain age where you're running marathons and stuff like that, but you start to want to use your mind more than your body.
Well, that's the primary, one of the primary purposes is to, in the program is to, it's the 12th step is to reach out and help others. You can't give away what you don't have, obviously. So you got to make sure you're sound personally, spiritually sound, and you have a good grasp on this thing. And the truth is we help one another in that program. But the 12th step is actually absolutely getting out there and reaching out to the next person who needs help.
So if there's somebody out there who's listening to this, who's on the fence and saying, I don't have a problem, I just like to drink a little, what would be 3 signs you'd give to them to look out for, or their loved ones?
I don't know about signs. I'd just say, hey, look, it's not about how much you're drinking. What's happening when you're drinking? If bad things are happening, DUIs, domestic violence, going to the hospital. I mean, these are all things that are kind of indicators that you probably shouldn't be drinking. And more than likely, you're probably an alcoholic, especially if it runs in your family. 50% chance if one parent has it, 90% chance if both parents are alcoholics. Me, I was more like a binge drinker, but bad things happen when I binge drink. I wasn't a daily drinker. Somebody will say, and that's one thing I'll tell you not to do is don't compare yourself to other people.
Okay.
Look at yourself in the mirror. And if you're asking the question, am I an alcoholic? You probably are.
Yeah. Yeah. And that goes for most things. If you're asking the question, Yeah.
Yeah. There's questionnaires out there from AA that you can look at it, and more than likely, you'll probably answer more than half of them.
That's true with so much yes. in life. If you have to say, am I, or is that, does that smell me?
Yeah, if you start looking at yourself truthfully in the mirror, and you really start, asking yourself those types of questions, more than likely, you've already answered the question.
Yeah. I see with younger people that drink that it's a lot more casual and socially acceptable to drink, and I see people getting what I consider sloppy drunk.
Mm-hmm.
And back in the old days when people drank, they would make sure everybody got home. They would take care of each other.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a system in place, even though you were still drinking, there was accountability. And like everything else, it seems to be lax. And we get a couple cases a year where people go out drinking and just don't keep track of each other. And somebody wanders off and has a tragedy impact them. And when I was growing up, there was this, family members or whatever, everybody, they still looked out for each other and took care of each other, made sure everybody got home, because a lot of the drinking involved massive cover-ups with spouses, so there was a complex network, Well,
I mean, in this day and age, with what we have access to, there's really no reason.
There's no excuse.
I mean, you got Uber, you got taxis, you got friends you can call on. You know what I mean? You just... don't get behind the wheel. Don't drink and drive. And again, if you're asking yourself these questions, more than likely you need help.
Yeah, and it's not even drink and drive. Don't drink and walk.
Right.
Get a ride home. Don't even drink and walk. I'm taking it a step further.
Listen, I my early days as a police officer in Wildwood, New Jersey, I saw many bike accidents that were alcohol involved, and they didn't end well at all.
Yeah.
Some as bad as a car wreck.
Yeah.
People going to the hospital and ended up in, traction for months and months at a time and, having surgeries and, it just, alcohol impairs your thought process. I mean, it's just, you know what, if you're doing things that are causing you issues while you're drinking, yeah, you need to stop and know that there's help out there for you.
It's funny because down there, Wildwood Crest was like another city for us, to go all the way over there, and that was the party town. Mm-hmm. And where I was, we were raised by what we used to call teetotalers. Mm-hmm. Okay, it was.
It's an AA term.
I wasn't gonna get any alcohol in that house, so it wasn't gonna slip in, even if I wanted it to.
Right.
But if you have a genetic or a sociological propensity to it, and then you're in what is a pseudo party town next to a party town, it's a bad formula. Yeah. It's just a bad formula.
Well, it's everywhere, as you know. I mean, if you're an alcoholic or drug addict or whatever, you can be in Alaska and you're going to get it. Yeah. You're going to get it.
Yeah.
You'll find it. Yeah,
you'll find a drink on the moon if you have to.
You'll find a way to get it. You will. And that's so you can talk about, the Wildwoods or whatever. They're doing the same in every town on the coast, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
That's how it goes down. You know that. You were growing up there. I mean, it's everywhere, and you can teach responsibility all you want, but sooner or later you're going to see people overdoing it.
Do you think alcoholism is a problem? Is on the rise at all, or steady going down?
I think it's steady.
Steady.
I think there's a lot more out there to allow people to get help. You know what I mean? I wouldn't doubt. I haven't looked at the latest statistics, so I wouldn't doubt if it was on the rise. Maybe steady due to the fact that there's other addictions now that are taking over. The opiate epidemic, you know what I mean, is horrendous. You know what I mean? The heroin and all that stuff that's going on.
I've made the comment half truthfully, half in jest that I am nostalgic for the old days of just dealing with drinking problems in people and not these.
That's a truth. There's a lot of truth to that. I mean, I thank God for me. It was only alcohol. I see these young kids coming into the rooms now that are multi-addicted, booze, heroin, opiates, you name it. They're struggling. The struggle, when they say the struggle is real, it's real because they're hurt, and they've gone to the skids so much faster than it would take somebody who had a drinking career, over the span of 20, 30, 40 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they can do it.
These kids are hitting the skids in a couple of years.
I don't remember when I was growing up, many people, there was a gap where, because I didn't hang out with people that drank that much in my age group. I didn't anybody, but there was a gap where there was people that hid their drinking, I'd imagine, in my age group, because you would still get your butt whipped, old school, what they call child abuse now. But most of the drinkers were parents' age. There was this gap in there where there was no 20-something-year-old drinker, or not a lot like there is now. I see a lot of people. You go somewhere and I find if I'm offered a beer and I don't take it, people look at me like I got a third eye or something, and I've had somebody recently say, used to be people would say wuss or whatever. Now they say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Are you in recovery?"
Right.
Like, no,
No, I just choose not to drink, right?
I think it tastes nasty. We don't have to whisper.
Yeah,
There's
right.
no secret.
Yeah, right.
I just don't like the taste.
Well, and that's kind of where I'm at. It's just not. It's not a secret anymore.
It's not a secret.
It's just like, listen, man, I'm going to tell you right now that I don't drink, and I'm in recovery, and you know what? Life is good. That's the way it is. Life is good now. It's a true story. You don't have to hide it. You don't have to do anything. You just say, hey, I don't drink.
It's kind of better when it's not a secret. I think it's much better.
Well, it's funny, like early on, I would be out to dinner with my parents, and an unknowing waitress would come up to my father and say, hey, would you like a drink, sir? And my dad would say, not unless you want this restaurant to look like a bus garage when I'm done. Because that's how it was when he drank. It was all in or nothing at all, and that's sort of how I drank. That's exactly how I drank, actually. But I wasn't. I was just that happy-go-lucky Irish drunk, I guess you want to call it. I don't want to offend the Irish, but Irish Catholic, and growing up in a family of Irish Catholic, man, like I said. Funerals, weddings, cloudy, sunny, snowing. It was on. So
I don't think that would offend anybody. I think that's been said before. Everybody has their proclivities and everything, and it's not limited to anybody. But yeah,
I'm just thankful to God where I'm at now, and I'm not out there doing any more field research.
And field research,
you know what I mean? Like that's just how it is.
I won a drinking contest in Mexico.
Yeah,
that you had to drink 13 glasses of tequila to enter.
Yeah,
and
have fun with that.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Yeah,
I'll pass.
Yeah, that was, and like I said, I drink once a year, but it's enough.
Yeah.
And that was enough. That was enough forever. It was, I got a little monkey's head. But that was, I cannot.
Probably didn't end well for you.
It ended better than I deserved. It ended better than I deserved.
There you go.
But you have to be careful. Like you said before, knowing yourself, you have to know that if you can drink 13 glasses of tequila that drink out of a monkey's head,
right,
that you have the potential to have a problem, and you need to put yourself on a short leash, and people don't realize that right now. They want to, I not that you've got to go 13 shots, glass of tequila and a monkey's head, but I see people that are sadly craft beer drinking themselves to death. And, and I said to somebody, and we were somewhere, and he was, the bottle of beer was something like $30.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, if you want to pickle your liver, you could do it for a lot cheaper than that, and give the money to charity,
Well, it starts off, very innocently, and then I say you kind of work through these phases where, you're a beer drinker or whatever, and then you move into the sophisticated, BS. That's where I moved into, and then it was pretty much over after that, because I was about as sophisticated as the guy on the corner with the brown bag. And that's why I say, like, and we say it again, another mantra is just like, I'm just another bozo on the bus trying to get sober. I'm no different than the guy who's in the alleyway passed out with his brown bag. Just because I'm in the bar, drinking martinis with my pinky out, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't make you better.
I'm still an alcoholic.
Well, do you think that they're trying to make it more palatable in some ways? Like I see, there's a network. I won't say the name, but they have a wine club for people to watch your shows. And I was like, I'm not getting the connection. Well,
listen, the marketers are not stupid. I mean, they're marketing this. And I will call it poison because it's poison. They'll market the poison however they see an avenue to get it out to the masses. I mean, you can go and do, painting now. The big thing with certain, there's businesses where you can go paint and drink your wine while you're painting. And, okay, you're not at the bar, but you're now painting.
You stole my thunder because I was going to say exactly that.
I'm just saying it's everywhere. And you can sit and watch TV and every other commercial is liquor or beer. But, I mean, look at during football season. I mean, come on.
But who came, kudos